what day it is. I still don't know what day it is. It's a day. But whatever day it is, welcome to Surviving the Apocalypse with Frailty Myths. I am your host, as always. There's more than one Erinn Carter, so I can't say the only like Erinn Carter. I know I have a generic. I will look. Most people know this. My name has two N's, but I feel like that part might not be replicated. But there's definitely some other Erinns out there. Some other Erinn Carters for sure. I know there's. In fact, by the way, Georgia, I should introduce you. Georgia's here. Georgia Hursty, also co-founder, also director of Frailty Myths, has all the titles I have and more. Georgia, did you know that I know the other, so I have the email, you get my personal email, it's just Erinn Carter email, it's my personal email. But I have I know the other Erinn, the Erinn with one N. We're friends. We, every once in a while we get each other's email, and over the years we've forwarded on to each other, got to know each other. She's a very lovely woman. Her husband is a dentist, and she lives in the UK. Very nice lady. She's a mom. Wait, are you muted? I can't hear you.
Not the singer guy. That starts with A-A-R-O-N, right? Different spelling altogether.
I hate you so much.
Isn't he? Is he still 18?
No.
Not like 47 now.
I know you're gonna feel bad right now. You're gonna feel bad right now. Not only has he gone through significant numbers of drug and various related issues, I'm almost certain now that he's having a significant. Last time I saw him, he was doing what appeared to be a significant amount of drugs and had gotten a tattoo of supposedly, I say supposedly because it is trash, of Rihanna, covering at least the one half of his face. So things are not going well for my namesake. We've digressed early on. It's not a Frailty Myths show if I'm not babbling about something utterly ridiculous. Welcome to Thursday, Georgia. I was telling my friend Taya yesterday. We had Taya Logos on, she's a young music producer in the Philippines. First time, by the way, Georgia, that we've ever premiered a song on our show, a world premiere song yesterday. Yeah, super incredible. Very exciting to be a part of it. But I read this meme yesterday that said, hey, don't worry about it, but did you know that it's Tuesday? And I was like, oh shit, I can't believe it's Tuesday. I thought it was Monday. And then I realized that I read that meme on a Wednesday, which meant that it was not only not Tuesday, like I had not thought it was, but it was also not Monday like I had thought it was, but was really Wednesday. I say that to say I don't know what day it is. I don't know what day. But I'm happy to see you, Georgia. I'm happy to have you in my life. How's it going? Where you at? Where are you still? Where are you?
Likewise. I'm in Oakland still. Still in Oakland. I'm still in my apartment.
Doing a lot of travel, I see.
Yeah, I've moved from the living room earlier on today. I have some sad news. You remember Francis, my tree? This is his current state. Look at that. Beautiful ficus.
I try not to curse on the Frailty Myths show because it's a family show, although families curse. I do want to say, what the fuck happened to your tree, bro?
I know. I'm trying, I'm trying to some arrival process, but Francis the Ficus was like, fuck this pandemic shit, I'm out. Maybe he had too much attention. He's used to having the place to himself, not to totally anthropomorphize my tree, but all that is to say is it was a sad, just happened overnight. All damn leaves fell off. So
sometimes spontaneity. Sometimes, spontaneity is the thing. I've been reading a lot randomly, by the way. I've been reading a lot of theorists. I was reading some CLR James recently, some notes in the dialectic, and I pulled this quote out because I was thinking about us. Which I find, I'll tell you why I'm thinking about us, because it's interesting as an organization. I've been thinking about this, but your point on spontaneity and the tree, I find poignant. But I just wrote this down. I wanted to say it to you. So wait. The task is to abolish organization. The task is to call for, to teach, to illustrate, and to develop spontaneity, the free creative activity of the proletariat. I found that pretty lovely, and I always wonder if spontaneity is the thing that we're looking for, right? Is that the thing? Maybe it's like, maybe the end of the ficus is the beginning of something else. Why do you keep muting? What's going on?
I was typing and I want you to hear.
That's fair. I have a mechanical keyboard, so I'm always muting when I'm.
Got a little new growth at the bottom, so maybe it's something. I was thinking like change and death and rebirth, and change doesn't always mean death, and sometimes you gotta trim off the top to grow at the bottom, and I was shaking out the roots because I think it maybe had some root rot because it got a little bit too dense in there. So, a lot of metaphors. We like metaphors at Frailty Myths. So.
Not a fan of puns, but I do like a good metaphor.
Yeah, I like puns.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty profound. Speaking of which, by the way, I think your point of like, transitions being interesting. People, if you're joining me tomorrow, I'm going to be continuing our exploration into home cannabis growth, and I'll be showing folks. I don't want to rush it. I think this is going to happen. This is the thing about plant growth, Georgia. You know this, right? Like you can't rush it.
Can't rush it.
Can't rush it. So I think that I'm going to chop tomorrow. I'm hoping that I'll chop tomorrow. It's his birthday to chop. I mean, this is the date on the calendar that is circled for it to be chopped. But we'll see if she likes it. Also, I want to say that a giant mushroom is growing out of the bottom of it.
Nice.
Which is it's disgusting looking, and I say that only because I should love I want to be Georgia. I want to be that person that like loves what everything like, oh, whatever you are, I love you is one. But some shit grosses me out if I'm gonna be real about it. Some stuff grosses me out.
Well, I agree that mushrooms are gross. I'm with you all the way on that one.
Please, if you're on Facebook, please get in the comments and tell Georgia that she's dumb for not liking mushrooms.
You just said that it was gross.
They're delicious. This is a yellow penis-shaped mushroom coming out of the bottom of my flower pot. I'm not trying to shame men's bodies. I think everyone's body is beautiful. I have a new puppy, so there's a new little male body in our house that we're loving. And I'm saying that I don't want a neon-shaped penis mushroom growing out of the bottom of my beautiful cannabis.
Yeah, mushrooms are gross. I agree.
It's shaky from over here.
All right, we got 15 minutes. What are we doing today?
Well, the most important thing ever we're doing is we're premiering one of the new, if not the new, Frailty Myths Finds Out video series, Georgia. Do you know about this Frailty Myths Finds Out series, Georgia? Do you know about it?
I don't know about it. What is it?
It's weird that you don't know about it, Georgia, because you're in it.
That is weird.
That's a full stop. I'm concerned about you. I want to get one of those videos.
Very associative times, it's like, don't remember where I put shit. I'm dead ass. I have locked myself out of my apartment more times in the last month than I have in my entire life.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Wait. Have I ever known you to lock yourself out of your apartment? I have to say no. I don't think I remember in college or are you? I mean, I don't feel like we've ever like when we lived as adults. I feel like we never lived close enough for you to be like, yo, let me give you a key. But I don't think you've been in Oakland. You don't really lock yourself out stuff.
That's not really a thing to do. I'm pretty.
How many times have you locked yourself out?
3.
That's like okay. So like, how many times have you locked yourself out in like life?
Of my house?
Yeah.
Maybe once.
So total, you think like 4 times you've locked yourself out?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Like I got locked out of the building once, but I still had my house key, so I had to break into the apartment building or like climb over the fire escape. I had to like jump the fence and climb up the fire escape and get in the window, which was frighteningly easy. It's just the illusion of security.
That's how I met my wife's father for the first time. I jumped the fence to her house because it was easier than waiting to knock on the door. Mm-hmm. And not realizing the reason why she wasn't answering is because, like other adults, she was doing things and was busy chatting with her father. And so I was like, she's not answering her phone. I'll just hop this fence and go to her door. And like, she like runs out and is like, oh, let's go meet. It's here. You just hop the fence.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah, dissociative. So, Frailty Myths Finds Out.
Look, here's the deal. I am like, I feel like people get this impression of Frailty Myths because they know you. And so I want for people that just are going to get a chance to watch this. Frailty Myths Finds Out is not for Georgia. It's not for Georgia. It's for Erinn. Look, I'm Erinn of Frailty Myths. You know when you're taking a Frailty Myths class and you're like, I don't know how to do that. That's me. We made all these classes for me, y'all. This is me to learn. So first up, I was learning Georgia Frailty Myths Finds Out. We learned how to use coconut oil because I need to learn how to moisturize always. And I don't know how to mix those things together. I don't know how that works. So you taught me how to do that. Boom. Great. This one, Georgia, we're learning how to use a hammer, which we talked about this before. I'm super excited about one because I've mashed my finger a bunch of times. I'm tired of it. Seriously, people think Frailty Myths is like, oh, you guys know all this stuff and you're like teaching people. And it's like, no, I don't know anything, bro. And I'm learning it. And then we were like, we'll do a class on it. So I'm tired of mashing my thumb. And more importantly, I'm just tired of like going and seeing videos where it's like dude bros and like dude bros are lovely, but I'm just tired of like getting super broed out when I watch a video on how to do stuff where it's either like really long or it's just like on some like, you know, Bob Vila's not bad, but like I get it. I get it, white men. I get that you have a lot to say, Steven. And you know.
And you know, it's also the thing with videos, and I'm a big YouTube video watcher, is that the language and like you can, for me, I can feel all of the implicit bias. The language is super gendered. There's a video series called The Art of Manliness, which is literally just on some basic how to use tools. And so there's all of these both implicit and explicit narratives that are reinforcing the things that Frailty Myths is really specifically trying to act against and to redefine and to recreate. And so it really, you know, it's really what I think in the virtual space, what we're trying to do with Frailty Myths Finds Out series is say like, hey, you don't need to know everything in order to share what you do know. And it's not that deep, you know, it's not that deep.
Yeah, and it has nothing, the shit that we describe as manly is always mind-boggling to me, where I'm like that, or just the things that aren't manly. Like I was on Twitter and this person tweeted out like, oh, if a dude orders dessert on a date, he's gay. And I was like, oh, dessert's gay now. Oh, I didn't even know, who knew? Dessert is gay. Dessert.
Well, and also like, and we talk about this a lot in the workshops, which is that like your value as a human being is not tied to how or when you order dessert. And it's also not tied to whether or not like how or if you know how to use tools. Like you're not born knowing how to, like that's not how it works. You're not born knowing how to do stuff. And so the fact that we have so much shame associated with just some regular ass behaviors and some really great and skills and learning things, like going through the very natural process of learning, which is the only way to acquire information, you know, is really, I think is really a disservice to all of us.
This is awesome. I want to learn. I feel like the hammer is also one of those, like, I mean, I come on the show often from like a goofy perspective because things need to be goofy. There's a goddamn global pandemic happening in the world. But like hammers are one of those like, yo, that's an ancient tool. Like that's a, like, it's like my wife and I were having this discussion about, Caroline and I were talking about caprese salads.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like 3 things or 4 things, right? It's like basil, cheese, tomato, and then balsamic. 4 things. And it's like in a specific order. You know, you gotta put them in an order. And it's like one of those things where it's like, yo, that recipe's been around for like 500 years. Like it's like 1,000, it's like it's old. It's old as hell. There's a reason, like when you have 4 ingredients or something, and they're like, hey, no, put it this way. There's a reason for that, right? There's science behind it. It's like, you know, a hammer is balanced, right? I would imagine like it's balanced. Like I feel like I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, what does it mean to come from a perspective of like assumed thoughtfulness? Yeah. You know, like I was in the grocery store and I bought some plantains because I'm making delicious black bean. Jordan, you should try this. Plantains in the oven, some black beans, and some crema mexicana right on top. Delicious. Awesome. But I was buying plantains, right? And they come in the grocery store. They came in a pack of 2. Wrapped with a cellophane wrapper that says plantains on. And I'm like, this is stupid. It's a piece of fruit that's like naturally wrapped. It's got a wrapper. It's already there. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, yo, but I know that I'm not an idiot. I know that you have to assume thoughtfulness here. Like someone did this for a reason. I know there's a reason behind this. I just don't know what it is. I put up on my thing with Inez, one of our Frailty Myths friends. She messaged me and she was like, I worked in a grocery store. That's so that they can scan them. People don't know the number, and it's to like memorize it, and basically like the amount of time it would take this to do them one by one. If you put them double, like it just says, it's like a whole thing. Like, do I think it's the right decision? Maybe not, but it's like someone thought about this. They didn't just randomly do it. Like a hammer is one of those things. It looks very simple. I'm rambling, but it's one of those things that's like real. It's been around for BCE kind of stuff, you know, like.
Yeah, and I think that applies to so much of the shit that we do and the way that we are redefining and reimagining space, which is thinking about what interaction looks like with assumed thoughtfulness versus assumed lack of thoughtfulness, right? And there's so many people, and we talk about this in a lot of workshops, where it's like, oh, you are assumed that I put no thought into this decision, that I just it just fell like an anvil into this moment, and I'm just like a buffoon, you know, being like, and this. And what it looks like to say, exactly like you said, maybe I don't agree, but I'm assuming you thought about it, and based on all of your faculties, this is the decision you came to. So, and how that ultimately results in a world with a lot more grace. And that is, you know, the kind of world I want to live in, is one with a little bit more grace and a little bit more.
I mean, that's like my perspective is educated now. It's like, look, I can disagree with this decision now, and I know why it's happening. Like, I'm not disagreeing from a position of like, ugh, you know, it's like, no, like, let's talk. Like, okay, now I get both sides. It makes sense. I get some things. Like, with that said, I think it is dumb to package plantains up. So.
I agree. I agree that it's a lot of plastic, you know.
Yeah.
Can't be.
Also, screw them, because what they're doing is making it so that every time you buy plantains, you have to buy them 2 at a time, even if you don't need 2, because they're doubling their price because they're not sold very often, which I'm guaranteeing is leading to waste, because not everybody wants to buy 2. Maybe somebody just wants to buy 1 or 3 or any other odd number that happens to exist in the world.
That's true.
I would have bought 1. Hey, so are we going to premiere the video? Are we going to show it?
Let's do it. Let's show it. Let me share my screen.
Yes. We're all premiere. Guys, next time I do this, I'm going to get an app. I'm going to get that hip hop app, the DJ Khaled one, and it's just like, world premiere. Ew, 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 ew. World premiere.
Just have a whole episode on how to do the best air guns and air horns now.
That's my theme. Oh my God. I need the air gun app. Thank you, Georgia. Air gun app.
I picked the wrong one. Okay, wrong screen share. Screen share. Here we go. Okay, ready?
Yeah, let's do this. World premiere. World premiere. New Frailty Myths Finds Out.
Here we go. Welcome back to Frailty Myths Finds Out, a different kind of how-to channel where we reject the idea of perfectionism, reject the idea that you have to know everything about something in order to share your knowledge, and instead lift up curiosity, lift up humility, and, you know, have some fun. Today we're going to be finding out about Frailty Myths' favorite tool, the hammer. When you go to the store, there are so many options. Slag hammer, framing hammer, mini sledge, rubber mallet, ball peen hammer, drilling hammer, blacksmith hammer, machinist hammer, dead blow hammer, non-marring mallet, mason's hammer, roofing hammer, Thor's hammer, the patriarchy smashing hammer. We've decided that what we need is a claw hammer. So let's get a little bit more into the details about claw hammers. The parts of the hammer, for some reason, have the same names as a head. For the most part. The whole thing is the head of the hammer. The front of the hammer here is called the face. Behind the face is the neck. This is the cheek. The eye of the hammer is where the handle connects to the head. The handle itself, and of course, the claw. You'll see hammers that have a straight claw, and you'll see hammers that have a more curved claw. And that's really going to depend on what you want to use that side of the hammer for. You're going to get more leverage with the curved hammer pulling out nails. Here we've got a straight claw. We're going to use this part of the hammer for prying and lifting and hacking, so you can both smash the patriarchy and rip it apart. Super handy. Claw hammers range in weight from 10 ounces on one side, which are your finish hammers, all the way to 32 ounces. The head weights of 20 to 32 ounces are your framing hammers. And those are going to have the heavy heads, long handles, and the rip straight claw for more power and more leverage, but are harder to control. They wear you out faster. At Frailty Myths, we know that power comes in many different forms. What's going to be the most sustainable and what's going to be the most appropriate for the job. For me, a 16 or 18 ounce hammer is totally adequate. All right. The things you're going to consider when choosing the right material for your hammer are cost, durability, and comfort. Ultimately, it comes down to your preference. The most common materials that you'll see at the store are wood, fiberglass, and steel. Wood handles tend to absorb the most shock from the metal hitting the head of the nail, reverberating into your arm. They're, for most people, going to be the most comfortable, but they're going to wear out. The steel hammers are going to be a little bit heavier. They're going to absorb way less of the shock, but they can last you a lifetime. So it really depends on how much hammering you're doing and what feels right for your body and in your hand. Most steel and fiberglass hammers have some kind of rubber rubber or grip to try to compensate. At Frailty Myths, it's important to name the different narratives that run in our heads when we're using tools, and those can be narratives around failure, the expectation of failure. If we try and we fail, that we'll lose access. We really want to break apart some of those myths. Okay, let's talk about how to use this thing, how to hold it, and how to swing it. Generally, when you're starting a nail, you're going to hold the nail and you're going to do some taps to get the nail started. The biggest piece of advice I ever learned about using a hammer and riding a motorcycle is to look where you want to go. Look where you want to go. Keep your eye on where you want to strike, and don't forget to move your hand out of the way. Hold the hammer at the bottom of the handle, right where the grip expands just a little bit. You're gonna swing with your whole arm, not with your wrist. Raise your arm up, look right at the head of the nail, keep focused on the head of the nail, and you're gonna bring your arm down. If you look at your fingers, you're gonna hit your fingers. You can choke up a little bit to get your nail started. Re-grip the hammer at the bottom. Use your whole body and let the weight of the hammer fall while looking right at the head of that nail. And it takes practice. Practicing nailing is a great way to relieve stress, to get some exercise. If you've never used a hammer before, you're gonna miss, and that's okay. Nobody is born knowing how to use tools. For lots of folks, they've never had the opportunity or been given the space to learn, to try, to fail, to get better. So that's what we're trying to do at Frailty Myths. That's it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Georgia, one of the co-founders of Frailty Myths. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and let us know what you think in the comments, or if you have any questions. You can follow us on all the things. Become a member now. It's the best way to support Frailty Myths, and you get a whole bunch of amazing gifts, including your own Frailty Myths Smashing the Patriarchy Hammer. On Frailty Myths Finds Out, we're building skills while building a more just and loving world. Join the family. Mad love. Hey!
Downloaded it. So many things. I'm so irritated right now.
So irritated.
Yeah, I'm irritated, Georgia, because my fingernails are decimated from looking at my fingers while hammering for the better part of a decade. So good to know. Good to know. I will say I can co-sign, not that you need your words co-sign, but I can co-sign on sledgehammering as a exercise activity. My good friend Chris, he does a lot of sledgehammering and is consistently trying to get me to do it. I tried to explain to him, while being a Black woman in Southern California, it might not be a good idea for me to be out in a hoodie, sledgehammering something, but you know. Quite frankly, where is it safe to be a Black woman in a hoodie in the United States?
And face covering.
I almost got arrested by my puppy today, running out of the house. I was running because he runs, and so I'm running with him, and I got a hoodie on. It's like 5 a.m. I'm chasing after this little puppy. You can't see him because he's so small, so it just looks like I'm running. And I look up, and I'm running from behind my house because that's where I live, in a condo. So I'm walking from behind it, and a cop just pulls by, and I'm like, oh, so I look like I'm sprinting out of this condo with a hoodie on, and then he like slows, and I'm like, oh, my dog's gonna get me shot by the police. Nonsense. Well, look.
I did like a slow roll through.
Yeah. It's like, all right, bro. I'm a homeowner. The last thing I yell is the police shoot me. I'm a homeowner. Look, we're still manifesting it, by the way. A couple things to remind people before we go. First and foremost, Georgia, May 29th, the third now ever Frailty Myths Open Mic Night. We're having people, well, I want more comedians. I want more folks coming out and doing art, doing stuff. Do your weirdy stuff. I don't care. You got some weirdo stuff you do? I want to see it. Bring it. Bring it.
It's wild, though, if I can just say, I was sending an email out to some of our folks the other day about it, and I thought, like, the third, like, this will be the third month that we've been in this world. And you know what? I got to say, Erinn, like, I've really enjoyed this show. I've enjoyed watching you host the show. I've learned a lot. I've been all over the world with you. And, I think, I don't know if Frailty Myths, if we were cut for the virtual world, but I think we're doing a pretty good job. I think you're doing a great job.
Spontaneity is what we're searching for, right? This is what we talked about early on, right? This is the world that we're looking for. I appreciate that. Look, when we first started talking about the show, I think we had originally planned on doing like a few weeks, like a couple weeks. And we find ourselves here, you know, however, 5 weeks later, still hanging out, still trying to figure out what we're gonna do in the world. And quite frankly, that's just because like we're people too. So like, I don't know what to do. Just like everybody else, I'm just trying to figure it out too. We're all trying to figure it out too. But I do think that, yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep being out here. We're gonna keep talking to folks, keep bringing folks info, and keep figuring out how to do it. And recognizing that like moments of change, of like contradiction and upheaval are signs that we are in the midst of a transformation. And so, how do we instead of moving away forward, how do we move towards it? Even in knowing how frightening that is, like in recognizing the fear of that.
And I've really held so much of the Frailty Myths work, like philosophy in this moment of, you know, we don't need to know everything in order to do something. And, you know, when we talked about putting the show up and the Frailty Myths Finds Out, it's like, yeah, we don't know all the answers. Who knows what will be? But like from the day Frailty Myths was born, to say we're just going to try and we're going to be honest and humble and be in community and see what happens. And, you know, I was talking to someone today in a meeting and they were saying, well, we can't do this one small piece because there's so much of this that connects to all of these other things. And I just felt really grateful about the kind of mentality that Frailty Myths brings around, like, well, we can just try. And of course we'll fail along the way, but that journey is part of what's beautiful, and it's not that deep, and we can be human. And I just, you know, in this moment, I'm really grateful for that philosophy and that approach, and love seeing it at the open mic night where it manifests in poetry and prose and music.
We got to reach out to Annie Danger. I know she was on one of our first shows, but I got to get one of them watermelons smashed on a show. So
that's what's up.
We got to get that. We got to get that happening. We're going to reach out to some folks. May 29th, we're doing it live, virtual. We'll still be, we're in California, so we'll still be sheltered in place. Yeah, so make sure you go on to, Georgia says all the things. When she says things, she means the trillion-dollar corporations that are Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just things. But you can find us there, and you can find the event, and you can find the sign-up link on Facebook. Find it there, and sign up for May 29th. Also, because we're manifesting it, we're building a homestead. We're building a house where we can do more Frailty Myths stuff. So if you happen to have one of the 3 things, we would like to chat with you. If you happen to have extra land, an extra home, or extra money, if you have one of those 3 things, email us at info@frailtymyths.org. We're looking to build a homestead. We want to do it. I like to think of it, it's going to be like just a Radical Farm meets the Highland Center meets Beyonce's live album. So yes, if that intrigues you, check us out.
Manifest.
That's what I'm saying, Jordan. I feel like you got to keep saying. I'm going to keep saying it. We're gonna. The thing is, we're going to do it. It's just a question of where and when is it going to happen. So
yes.
If you want to be a part of that, like I said, one more time, if you have one of the 3 things, extra land, extra homes, or extra money, one of those 3, email us at info@frailtymyths.org. Let's chat. Anything before we go, Georgia? Not last words, but anything you would like to say before we end this?
Yeah, just to anyone watching, if you want to be on the show, if you want to be, Erinn, you look just heavenly right now. You got this like light that's occasionally, yes, it's just gorgeous.
It's called melanin.
Like an angel. And
no one's ever said that to me, ever.
Sunlight and your white hat with your white shirt. It's just gorgeous. Just really beautiful.
Catholic Church had people that were angels with beanies and just tattoos. I would so sign up.
It's heavenly. You actually remind me of Patrick Swayze at the end of Ghost when he's like about to ascend, you know, and finally Demi Moore can see him, and it's like a whole moment.
Can we talk about the man that murdered Patrick Swayze in Ghost? Frightened?
Oh, I was like
Jesus out of me when I was a child.
Me too, but for a moment I was like, Patrick Swayze got murdered?
He passed away a few years ago, I think, of a disease, but the dude that killed him in the movie, he scared me when I was little.
I still think, when I go on the subway,
yes!
That movie in the scene, oh! Like, with the face and the guy.
That's the scariest Jerry curl that's ever been created ever. I don't know what it was about his Jerry curl, but it was like especially frightening to me. I don't know. Wow. Shout out to that man. He seems like a lovely actor, but Jesus, that was right.
That was wild. So yeah, if you want to be on this show, let us know at info@frailtymyths.org, or you can hit us up on Facebook.
Slide it in my DMs.
if you have a skill or something that you want to share, or a curiosity, and you want to co-make a Frailty Myths Finds Out episode, we'd love to have it, love to see it. Hit us up, let us know. And we, this is a community project. We're all about family. So yeah, join the fun.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Beautiful. Well, another lovely day. Check it off the list. Frailty Myths Finds Out. We survived the apocalypse. We're done. Survived it. Hold on real quick, Georgia. Before we go, I just want to make sure.
I'm going to pull up our outro, which is...
Well, before we go, though, I don't want to make sure that people just...
Okay, keep going. Keep playing it.
Irritate the only person in my life right now. Caroline's going to be texting you. You're in trouble, Georgia. I'll be using that for the rest of eternity. Play my outro!